Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. As part of celebrating Women's Month, we focus on those who are persevering in the world of business. The transportation and logistics industry of South Africa is rather known as rewarding and productive. However, it is very capital intensive, and many who want to enter it struggle with access to capital, attaining contracts, and access to industry information, which for many can lead to exclusion. But for Nozuko Mayeza, who owns a logistics company, well, she says she's up to the challenge and says, bring it on, because women are capable of competing. She joins us in the studio right now. Thank you very much for coming.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. The last time we spoke to you, how has your business grown so far?
It has grown tremendously. We have tapped into the African market at the moment. We are partnering with one freight company in Ghana. So we are thriving, I would say.
Well, when we visited your company at the premises, we wanted to know how it all started. Perhaps for those who haven't seen that interview before, tell us where it all began, when you woke up one day and said, I want to own the trucking company one day.
It's not that I woke up one day and I thought I want to own a trucking company. It was an opportunity that presented itself when I attended a women's event. That was 2012 when I just left the bank.
And then how did you get in?
It was a struggle. First of all, there is not much information out there as to how one can get in. So the person that was a guest speaker in that event helped me in terms of giving me a few contacts, guys that were already in the logistics, so they helped me to get started.
And it is a well-known factor that when you are a woman, getting in a male-dominated industry is not very easy. For you, how did you maneuver your way through?
It was tough. First of all, I had to get the knowledge of the industry, so that was my main focus. And another challenge was obviously the capital. So what I did, I asked to be subcontracted by one guy who was already an expert in the industry. So from there on, that's how I managed to grow.
The emerging Logistics and Trucking Business Association says that there's a problem when it comes to information sharing. Is it still the case even now?
Yes, it is.
So with you getting all into the networks of the logistics company, when you need specific data that analyzes routes, that analyzes the contracts and the companies that need to outsource transportation of goods, especially that are industry specific, because you need to also assess the kind of goods that you have to carry to various destinations, even beyond the borders of South Africa. That kind of data, are you able to obtain it?
It's not easy to obtain it. It comes with a cost, and it's difficult if you're still a small business. So what I did, I had to identify individuals from each company that I needed the information from. And then I'll just pick up a phone and call that person and introduce myself, send my bio, and send through the list of questions. And I've always met with wonderful people that were willing to assist me. Otherwise, to say that there is a data that will get somewhere to help you, I have not seen that. I know it's there, but it's not easy to access it.
Then, because the industry is capital intensive, I mean, I can imagine how much it costs to just buy one truck. So far, with how many trucks did you start your business with, and where are you now?
I always advise people, it has worked for me, start with one. So I started with one because you need about over 100,000 actually that will put down to get a truck to lease or whatever that you think it's workable. Even if you're buying it from the bank, you still need to put down a deposit. So you have to have over 100,000, and you're only running for that 100,000+ a month. It will only sustain you a month. So for me, I had just left full-time employment, so I had savings from there. That's how I got started.
And then obtaining your first truck, obviously we saw you driving a truck in heels there. Are you driving all of your trucks now?
No.
Okay, so how many people have you hired so far?
12. full-time, and then I've got about 6 that are temps. But we work more on contract basis because our industry is it varies. It's difficult to have fixed staff for a certain period. Like now I'm busy with cross-border, and that is completely different. You need drivers that are exposed to the region, you know, that they're quite aware of the routes, you know, the risk around it and all of that. And if now you have to do a local job, you need to look for a local guy that, you know, knows the roads around South Africa, you know, at what time you need to take which route, and it will take you to until what point till you hit the traffic. So you keep on changing depending on the job at hand.
So when you're talking about going beyond borders, we saw that you have been actually communicating that you had a partner, then you were going places. You went to the States, and right now you are also in Ghana at some stage. How have you been able to establish those networks?
You know what, I attend few networks, but not all of them. So I get a lot of invitations, and then I would choose which one that I think would work for me. And I usually request a list from the organizer so that I would know who's attending. And then obviously, I then try and reach out to that person. That's how it happened in Ghana. I connected with one guy who is the head of state housing, and he lived in Washington, D.C. And when I was in Washington, D.C. myself, I met him in one event, but we lost contact. So we reconnected, and I told him that I'm interested to, you know, have my footprint in Ghana, and within a week, all was good to go for me.
Now going forward, what is it that you would like to see happen in the logistics industry, especially with the hurdles that are there for one to make it? I know you were saying it's not easy, but I mean the hurdles have to really be spotted and removed.
And I find them unnecessary. People must just share the information. I do that on social media. Whenever I get those questions, I respond to people because it takes time. For me, nobody gave me the information. I had to go look for it myself, read it myself, and understand it. And that took 3 years of my time in the business, just getting the information, understanding it, you know, and streaming it down to what I want to do. So I do feel that all that information is good to be out there so that people can just, you know, make up their minds and move faster.
All right. Thank you very much for making time to speak to us. It's been a really tough 3 years for you, but you have made it, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right. That's Nozuko Mayeza, who is the Managing Director of Tooltech Logistics, talking to us about the barriers in the transportation industry.